Well, good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with Pastor Michelle. Tonight is Saturday, August 8th. And let's start with the Disney story, shall we? And the Disney story tonight is from the movie The Jungle Book. And the story is called We're the Vultures. Nothing exciting ever happens around here, Buzzy complained to his vulture singing buddies. That's not true, said Flaps. What about that fight we had with the tiger, Shere Khan, last week? Blimey, you're right, said Ziggy. That was pretty exciting. But what are we going to do now, asked Buzzy. Let's sing, suggested Ziggy. Only one problem. We need a tenor, said Dizzy. So what are we going to do, asked Buzzy. How about we hold an audition, suggested Ziggy. Good thinking, said Flaps. So the vultures put the word out in the jungle, and a week later there was a line of animals ready to try out for the group. First up was a monkey. Name, Buzzy asked the first applicant. Coconut, the monkey replied. All right, Coconut, let's hear you sing, Flaps said. So Coconut shrieked for a few moments, and then the four vultures huddled together. He's not very good, Buzzy said. And he's a monkey, added Flaps. Next, Dizzy said. The vultures auditioned a lemur, two sloths, a wolf, a hippo, a toad, and an elephant. None seemed like the right fit. Finally, another vulture stepped up. Name's Lucky. Hey, aren't you the four fellows that helped that little man cub scare away that tiger, Shere Khan? The vulture said. Yeah, we are, said Buzzy. Then I guess you four might be called Lucky yourselves, cried Lucky. Go ahead and sing, said Ziggy, rolling his eyes. Lucky sang for a few moments, and then the four vultures huddled together. He's not bad, said Dizzy. Plus, he's a vulture, said Ziggy. And he's the last auditioner left, pointed out Flaps. And that, my friend, settled it. You're hired, the vulture sang. See, told you I was lucky, cried the vulture. But only with audition, said Dizzy. Yeah, said Buzzy. When we meet Shere Khan again, we'll see how lucky you really are. Dun, dun, dun. All right. All right. So there you have it. So let's turn our attention. These are double features, and I'm enjoying going through this book, just hearing what National Geographic says about these characters. And they're pretty much just saying the facts. I thought, so far, I'm not really hearing anything too new. But tonight, we're going to hear about Jacob and his sons. And Jacob, as we know, was Isaac's son. There was Jacob and Esau. So, to flee the wrath of his brother Esau, Jacob left for Haran. One night, he dreamed of a ladder going up into heaven. At the top stood God, reaffirming his covenant with Abraham that now passed to Jacob. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your offspring. Jacob built an altar and called it Bethel, the house of God. Now, just to remind you, Esau is mad at Jacob because Jacob stole Esau's birthright. So, soon after his arrival in Haran, Jacob fell in love with the beautiful and lovely Rachel, daughter of his cousin Laban. Once again, keeping it in the family. Laban warmly welcomed him to his family, but asked a steep price for Rachel's hand in marriage. Jacob would first have to work as a shepherd for 7 years, tending Laban's flocks. The annual wage for a shepherd in the Bronze Age was about 10 shekels. Hence, 7 years of labor was a stiff demand. But Jacob, a fugitive from Esau, was in no position to bargain. When the 7 years were fulfilled at last, Jacob spent his wedding night, only to discover at dawn that it wasn't Rachel. Not sure how he didn't know that, but her elder sister Leah, whom Laban had delivered to Jacob's tent. Laban explained that according to tribal custom, the oldest daughter should be married first. If Jacob wanted to marry Rachel as well, he would owe Laban another 7 years of labor. In time, Jacob was able to acquire a flock of sheep, camels, and goats of his own, but tensions within the clan, particularly between Jacob and Laban's sons, compelled Jacob to return to Canaan with his wives and the handmaidens, who also served as Jacob's concubines. By this time, these women had borne him 11 sons and a daughter. And so this is a picture of the vessel that might have been used in the Bronze Age. And this painting by William Dyce, The Meeting of Jacob and Rachel. Such a interesting story. So we continue on, though. While traveling south close to the Jabbok River, Jacob came upon a stranger who challenged him to a struggle. The two wrestled all night. The word wrestled is another Genesis wordplay using Jacob's name and that of the river. At long last, a stranger, an angel of the Lord, or perhaps God himself, relented and declared that Jacob would be known as Israel, the one who prevails with God. Just as Jacob had struggled with God, so too would the nation of Israel wrestle for centuries with its obedience to the Lord. Jacob decided to call the place Peniel, God's face, saying, I have seen God face to face. The unloved Leah bore 7 of Jacob's children, 6 sons, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, as well as a daughter, Dinah. And that's where you get the Reuben sandwich. I'm just kidding. Okay. Jacob's concubine, Bilhah, gave birth to Dan and Naphtali, while another slave, Zilpah, gave him Gad and Asher. Jacob's overt favoritism toward Rachel had prompted God to keep Rachel's womb closed, but Rachel's love was ultimately redeemed when she gave birth to a boy named Joseph, Jacob's favorite. Together with the sons of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim, these 12 men would become the forefathers of the 12 tribes of Israel, sealing God's covenant. So Jacob and Esau do eventually reconcile. And here's a picture of that by Francisco Hayes. I think that's how you want to say the name. There we go. That's and then motherhood in the Bible. Motherhood plays a major role in Genesis. Though pregnancy is of crucial importance for the patriarchal lineage, it is by no means assured. Both Abraham's wife Sarah and Jacob's wife Rachel struggle with infertility and require an intervention from God. But in the end, Rachel's love is redeemed and she gives birth to Joseph, Jacob's favorite and pivotal character in Genesis' dramatic climax, as well as Jacob's youngest son of Benjamin. And here is just a portrait. I don't know exactly who this woman is, but it's a funerary portrait from Fahim, Egypt. And so tomorrow we will learn about Joseph. And many of us know that story. It's a very well-known story. It's been put on to Broadway, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And so many of us are familiar with that. So God bless you all, and I hope you have a good night. And thanks for tuning in.